we are in pursuit of becoming like Kabelo, becoming like Beyonce, becoming like someone else, and we reject our identity. And when you reject your identity, it means that you are rejecting your maker.
You need to say that again. She needs to say that again. Hello everyone, my name is Kabelo Mohale and welcome to B.Connects, a conversation series designed to come alongside you and I as we build a life restored in identity, refreshed in soul, and awakened to purpose. I'm excited, like I always say, about today's conversation. I have a lovely woman. Yeah, her and I, when it comes to just continuing conversations and getting to know one another, I think we are quite similar, but we'll chat about it. But she's a lovely lady. I admire her. I love the work that she does. She loves the Lord. You know, today we have Talama Matsepe. So I know Matsepe.
I missed it by the O.
Talama Matsepe. She is a mom. She's also the wife and CEO of Power Couples Movement alongside her husband. She's also the founder of HeartSync, and she has a bachelor's degree in psychology. I didn't know that about
Hallelujah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's great to be here. Yeah, I'm great. Thanks.
How was your morning?
My morning was precious. I had, Emmanuel School was hosting mothers for the Mother's Day celebrations. So I had to be with him and we just did a beautiful activity together. So it was great. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a few fire questions. It's not going to be a lot of them.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you know, we want to get to know you a bit. I want to get to know more of you. And so they can also just work on the nerves, you know, right? First question, what does your morning routine look like? Or maybe let me ask night routine.
Oh, okay, night routine. So it's around 7:30, I start cooking. My husband baths Emmanuel, and then we have dinner, and then another thing that people don't know about me, I watch Skim Sami. I'm a typical baby girl. I will watch Skim Sami.
You're like my mom and dad. They watch Skim Sam till today. Oh,
so we watch Skim Sami.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't like it, but anyways, we watch. And then after that, we have to put Emmanuel to bed. We'll obviously read the Bible. He has a little children's Bible. We'll read the Word, we'll pray together, and we'll go to bed.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah, I mean, you're a counselor, right? So do you think the whole introvert, extrovert, personality type thing really exists?
You know what? I just think when we put people in boxes, it limits people. I think just allow people to be who they want to be. People made jokes of me because I'm an extrovert.
Oh, really?
I am an extrovert. I'm telling you, I am.
Okay. So maybe I should just get to know her a bit more.
I'm an extrovert, but I have also given myself room to be whatever that I want to be. Because sometimes when you are an extrovert, there's a certain expectation to always be the life of the party. I've given myself that space to say, perhaps not today, you know? And people obviously will ask, are you okay?
Yeah.
Because is something wrong with you? Like, did you have a bad day? And for me, it's like, no, it's just today I've chosen to be this way, you know? So yeah, I'm an extrovert.
I ask because I found that for the longest time I thought I was an introvert, but I realized I think it was more of a defense mechanism. It was like me trying to like protect myself, and so I would be in this shell, right? And I clothed it as I am an introvert. And so as I grow, obviously as I get to know more of myself, as I give myself permission to be, I'm learning that maybe I'm not an introvert. Maybe I'm in the middle. If we have to then have personality types, maybe I'm both. You know what I mean? Because I'm an extrovert with people that are quite close to me. But yeah, I think I use the whole personality type thing as a way to defend and protect myself. And I think a lot of us do that. Even if you're not an introvert, you can be an extrovert, but that's just masking a lot of what's happening on the inside. So you show up as this bubbly, energetic, always making jokes person, but that's just to mask what's actually happening on the inside. Or sometimes you show up as this brave, strong, I am not afraid of anyone, type of person, but you're just really shielding and protecting yourself or trying to cover insecurities. Yeah. And so that's why I am learning to challenge a lot of the whole personality types, just like 5 love languages. I'm challenging that one as well, because I just feel it's not black and white when it comes to personality types or, And
also, I think we are multifaceted. And when people start putting us in boxes, that's why when one feels that they have grown or evolved, there's always conversations around, oh, Kabelo, you have changed. Wow, so. Do you understand? And so that's why I'm not like this personality stuff. I just feel like they're quite restricting. I just think wake up and be whatever that you want to be, let's give people the space so that they can get to know themselves better, so that they can grow. And so for me, I just think there's no need for us to put everything always in boxes. Give yourself the freedom to learn, to grow and evolve. And that's all it is for me.
You're also a worshiper.
Yes, I am.
I want to talk more about that. When did you discover your love for worship? Obviously, we love the Lord and we worship all the time. But when did you discover your gift and your love for worshiping or leading people in worship, church?
My love for worship. So I received the Lord when I was quite young, like 11. I got baptized when I was 15. I grew up around church, like I'm a church girl. But I think when I was 15, I got to realize just the plan of God and my mandate on earth. And that is I think it's everyone's mandate to lead people to Christ. Go ahead and preach the gospel to nations. So at 15, I fell in love. Oh my gosh, Hillsong? Can I just tell you? Hillsong, I think it taught me how to really worship the Lord. I had no base. So that's how I got to really understand even the lyrics that are written. They are so, I don't want to say, heart to heart, right? That's where I got the desire to even write music myself. I'm a writer. I have a single.
Girl.
People don't know this about me,
now
but
we know.
So that's where basically everything started. But then, I just have this passion for worship. I think it's a form of expression, the way you love the Lord, the way you see the Lord. That's where it's basically started when I was 15, and then I started to pursue the Lord. I think it got more serious when you go to varsity. You start having that deep longing, just a deep desire to know this God, personal God. I think sometimes, we learn about God through the lens of pastors, through the lens of whoever that's preaching. Do you understand? But when it got to varsity, I realized, I need to know God personally for myself. And that's where everything started revealing or unveiling, in a sense.
I mean, you have a bachelor's degree in psychology, right? I actually didn't know that. Now that I know, I'm tempted to but it's fine. We'll talk on the side. How important is it to know your identity? And I want to ask this question that I think is quite important. Do you think there is a link to not knowing your identity and many of the mental health issues that we face today? Is there a link between identity and some of the issues we face when it comes to mental health, etc.?
You know,
It's a tough question, I know.
it is, but many of the sessions that I have at my practice are related to identity. Sure. I would have people asking, or the goals rather to therapy being, I want to get to know myself. I want to be the best version of myself, right? Everyone wants to say that. Everybody loves to say that. But I can see how the enemy has deceived a lot of people. The enemy is after identity. And if he deceives you and lies to you about your identity, then how else are you going to be the best version?
Because everything functions from
there. And so we have a society that doesn't know who they are. We are in pursuit of becoming like Kabelo, becoming like Beyonce, becoming like someone else. And we reject our identity. Sure. And when you reject your identity, it means that you are rejecting your maker.
You need to say that again. She needs to say that again.
When you are rejecting your identity, you are rejecting your maker.
Elaborate.
You are dissatisfied with who you are. And so you tend to pursue other people's identities. You're searching to be like this. So it's like taking other people's identities to form this thing that looks perfect. But then you're rejecting the God that created you. The Bible says that I knew you before you were born. The part that I love is that I have put my words in you. So that is your identity. He created you to be different. Why then would you want to be like anyone else? But that's the lie that the enemy has told us, that you are not enough. You need to do better. Perhaps you need to change this. Perhaps you need to work on this. Did you see that person is better than... So we deny ourselves and we discredit the work of the Lord, and because we are so dissatisfied with whom we are. And perhaps that's why I took therapy. I studied psychology, is because I was so fascinated with this person. I need to love this person. I remember when I got married, my mom should always say, Talama, you need to tone down on your laughter. You are too loud for a married woman. Talama, you need to tone down, man. It's too much. Tone down when you are a married woman. And I felt like, okay, so this is what a married woman looks like, right? So I need to tone down on my laughter. I'm no longer laughing loudly. And then I realized after some weeks, I'm like, woman. I'm denying who I am. And the traits that I have and the characteristics that I have, those are the things that attracted my man. So now I'm denying myself just because someone told me, hi man, Kabelo, you need to relax.
Sure. And speaking about man, she asked me where my ring is. Guys, I forgot my ring at home. I think I'm going to make this, I'm going to just disclose this to everyone so that there aren't any questions. It's at home. When you're speaking, you actually remind me of Genesis. I was just literally thinking of Genesis. And I think denying ourselves is really in the fall of man. I mean, when Adam and Eve ate from the tree, they put on fig leaves and they hid from the Lord. And God then had to walk in the garden asking, Adam, where are you? Right? So they took on these fig leaves. And I think when the Lord was teaching me on identity, He really expressed to me that I'm going to have to remove fig leaves. I'm going to have to remove, and these fig leaves for me, I knew He was talking about facades, certain identities that I was putting on myself that were really not me, ideologies that I was taking on, just me trying to mold myself into an image that is not really who I am. And so I really think the process of restoration in identity, the process of asking the Lord, I mean, when you say when we deny our identity, we're denying God. We're made in the image of God anyway. We're image bearers. And so when we are not accepting of who God has created us to be, we're really not accepting the image that we bear, right? And so I love it because we're now talking, especially in my community, we're talking a lot about allowing ourselves to take the fig leaves off. It's scary because some of those fig leaves we've worn as a defense mechanism, right? Protecting ourselves, survival mode. And so when the Lord now says, I need you to remove those fig leaves, it's scary. I can say it now because that's the process I'm in. It's scary because, number one, are people going to accept the person I truly am? Am I going to accept the person I truly am, right? But as I'm walking this journey, I'm finding that there's so much freedom in just being myself, Talama, and knowing that Talama likes me for me. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to have this laugh. I don't have to pretend as though I've got it all figured out, because I don't have it all figured out. I'm walking. When the Lord says step A, we are taking step A. Don't ask me about what 10 years from now looks like. I'm a planner, trust me. I plan. But I can't tell you, and it's hard. I can't tell you what 10 years is going to look like right now, because the Lord is not allowing me to know what 10 years looks like. I just know
It's teaching you dependability.
that I was going to say exactly that. I love being in control because, and it's not because I want dominance. No, it's actually protection for me. Like I said, I have my own childhood traumas, and so sometimes knowing and having control of certain things, being that avid planner, excellence, perfect, it's actually me protecting me. When I'm in control, I kind of know that, okay, I won't be out of control. No one will hurt me enough to be out of control, to lose myself. But it's really not the heart of God for us to walk that way with just these huge walls up, because then we don't get into this relationship. I don't get to know you. I don't get to allow you to know me in the fullness of who I am, right? I don't get to accept myself in the fullness of who I am. And so I think it's just important really to allow God to remove the fig leaves.
Absolutely. And when you speak about control, you just reminded me of a situation.
This is going to be my counseling.
Situation that my husband and I encountered. We struggled a lot with having a child, all right? And we went to see my gynae, and they found out that I had PCOS, so which makes it very difficult to conceive. So you have high testosterone levels, and it's just a whole lot of, So with Emmanuel, now, so we went to see the gynae. The gynae shares this information with us, and then I am like wrecked because I'm thinking, we did things right, we waited and we got married and I finished my studies, and now it's time to have a baby, and now there's another hurdle. And we would try, and it was just negative all the time. And then we went to see the gynae, and the gynae shared this information, and then we had to go through some processes. And that's when we started with the whole process, and it failed. And when it failed, the gynae said, I think now it's time to do, maybe you should consider doing ovarian drilling.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what? I didn't even want to go through with it.
So you didn't ask.
My husband said, no, this is enough, because already I was injecting myself almost every day with hormones and all of that. The whole process. And Gama said, no, I think this is enough. This is enough. We cannot do this anymore. And we decided, you know what? I think it was around February. And my husband said, we need to get into prayer, because this is definitely something that God did not plan for us. And we got into prayer. We told our pastor about it. We even got into prayer and fasting, and nothing happened. I had my period the next month, and the next month after that. And, you know, it was frustrating. It was frustrating. It was hurtful, because I was always avoiding women that are pregnant, you know, and not that I was not happy. It was just, I can't do this, you know, it was painful. And then then I found that I was pregnant. And I just thought, man, like, God is so funny. He is so humorous, because when we did this whole process, he was not involved. We did not involve him. We just thought, hey, it's science. It's more tangible. It's more realistic. You can see the results, right? So we didn't involve him in that process. It's one of those, oh, you've conceived, oh, great, oh, praise the Lord, you know what I mean? But then I was like, oh God, you're so hilarious, because what you've taught me through this experience is I needed to depend on you. And to show that science had nothing to do with it, I had to go through the first and second period to show that it had nothing to do with the injections, it had nothing to do with, no, it was him.
Yeah, God opens our womb. Yeah.
So sometimes we want to be in control of everything, but then you miss out on an opportunity to see God's plan unfold. Yeah. Because you want to be hands-on on each and everything. Yeah. So God allows you to do your thing. But also, when you come back, you're like, Lord, let your will be done. Absolutely. I'm surrendering this to you. It hits different. Yeah. And now when I look at my son, I'm like, man, you are a tangible reminder of God's goodness. Yeah. You are a tangible reminder of God's goodness. God says that I will never shame you. Sure. You know, I'll never want to embarrass you. You are my child.
Sure. It's almost as if you've built an altar upon your child of to bring remembrance of the goodness of God.
Even so when I go through any challenge, I'm like, it's possible because He did that for me.
I feel the same with Micah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. I want to ask you, Talama, how have you changed in the last year?
In the last year?
I ask because, and there's a reason, I ask because there's so much happening in your life now, new developments. You're now the founder and the CEO of HeartSync, which we're going to talk about. And so I can only imagine how requiring that is. You hosted an event for power couples, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just a few months.
A singles event.
A singles event, right? Under power couples. Mm-hmm. A month ago? 2 months ago?
It's 2 months.
2 months ago.
A month ago?
Yeah.
2 months ago.
And you were in the process, I'm sure, behind the scenes with HeartSync.
Yes.
And you're also a mom, and you're also a wife. That's a lot. Right? Let's not underestimate that. That's a lot. And so there's a lot of changing there. There's a lot of shifting. There's a lot of transitioning. And so that's why I ask, how have you changed? And how have you found your rhythm? So I don't believe in balance. I just feel like if we talk about balance, it means you have to pick one, right? And I struggle with that. I believe in flow, right? So do you think you found your flow in all the transitions you've encountered?
I don't think I found a flow. I would be lying. I think, going back to what I said, dependability, I have to just trust in the Lord. There are days where there are no clients, and my heart, it's painful to think, okay, like, what's the problem? I've started this business, and this is not just to serve me, this is to serve the people of God. And wait along, But then it's good that I have a supportive husband. Yeah. I graduated in 2016. That was a long time ago, right? And after that, I went into, I started my own business, which still exists even today, branding business, and he supported me. After that, last year, I had an encounter with God. And the encounter, it's actually through a vision that I saw. And in this vision, I saw a family, husband, wife, and a child. But the interesting thing is I couldn't see their faces, right? But then this family was covered with a beam, in a beam of light. Right? And as I drew closer and I looked behind this family, there was a trail of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of families. Yeah. And that moment right there hit me. Sure. We started Power Couples 2017, somewhere there. And God was just reminding me that, Talama, I have called you for marriage.
And he has.
I have called you for marriage. And when we get the families right, the families that come after that,
Generational.
So I started seeing the importance of why I should start HeartSync. And I realized, okay, we really need to build healthy, strong families. Because when we do, that becomes a ripple effect to not just Micah.
Yeah.
It goes into your community.
Absolutely.
From your community, from your workspaces.
Yeah.
That spreads out. And so that's when I realized, okay, this is the work. This is what I need to do.
And that's why there's such a hectic attack on families right now.
Absolutely.
And it starts with marriages.
And it starts with marriages.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I've also noticed, especially with counseling, is how uncomfortable it is for a couple to come for therapy. Most of my clients are just individual, not so much couples, because when a couple comes in for therapy, it means they have had a conversation of, we need to do better. We need to work on some stuff. Many times there's a certain expectation, especially with Christian couples, that we are fine, we're good.
Or we can just
We can pray it out. We can pray it out, we can fast it out, and then that's it. That's all that we need to do.
Sure.
But then you're forgetting that there's work that needs to be done. I'm also realizing now that we're speaking out on this, how I was having a session with a couple, and I asked them a simple question to say, what is it that you love most about your husband? And she was so excited to actually answer it. And she was like, oh, I love that he's a great husband, that he's a great this and that, he's a great father, you know, he takes care of his family. I'm like, no, that's his roles. What is it that you love about your partner? And she paused. I asked the husband.
Yeah.
Now the husband, because of what we were talking about, now he's
looking.
trying to think, what is it that I can...
Yeah.
And I realized then that we haven't really developed our emotional connection with our partners. We don't have the language or a way to articulate our feelings to our partners. There's no room for that. And it's because we haven't really created that room. So whenever we have to speak about love and what is it that you love most about your partner, it's always about the things that they can do for you. Or their roles. Not so much about who they are to you.
Or who they are in you.
And I guess that goes back to what we've learned. It's learned behavior from our parents. I mean, you didn't have to have your mom or dad saying that I love you. It's enough. You know that I love you. I take you to school. Isn't that enough? I buy you clothes. Isn't it enough? Isn't this showing you that I love you? And so we've learned that. Over the years, we've associated love to acts, to roles and responsibility. Responsibility. Now, that has created a problem within relationships because when something is wrong, you fail to articulate it to your partner. Kabelo no, you do this and you do that. No, there's something going on, the root. We need to deal with the root. So you keep on mentioning the things that he's doing, not so much what the problem is. So now you're dealing with expectations, you're dealing with unmet expectations, which you've never communicated to your partner about, and now you're just screaming. And now you have a whirlwind of emotions which you are failing to articulate to your spouse about because you have not really taken the time to understand these feelings. Yourself. So then how do you expect your partner to articulate your emotions, to express your emotions when you yourself don't understand your emotions.
The importance of really sitting with self.
Sitting with self and understanding your emotions. Where are these coming from? Why am I triggered? Why am I triggered this way? I can even give you an example. The other day, I think it was last week. My husband says to me while he was busy bathing Emmanuel, and he says in the morning, and he says, babe, please make Rice Krispies for Emmanuel. And I go, sure, yeah. He's like, when you warm up the milk, don't make the Rice Krispies like
water,
yeah, you know,
gummy, like gooey.
Yeah. And I was like, it triggered me. I'm like, I'm a mom. Like, you understand? Like, what is the problem? Do you understand? And I could have responded. It's a silly example, but I could have responded and said, like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm a mom. I've done this before. He's 5. Like, I've done this before. Yeah. And I had to sit there in the kitchen. I'm like, why is this triggering? Why is this triggering me so much? And I realized, the question of, are you good enough? You know, are you really good enough to do this role? Or it doesn't have to be being a mom or anything, but just, are you good enough? You have that echoing in your mind, or, Kanti, what, don't you think I'm capable of doing such thing? You know? And I had to sit down with that. And later on, I had a conversation with him. I'm like, babe, this is not serious, but it's serious. You know? And I immediately called myself to order to say, no, we need to deal with this.
What is the root?
What is the root? Where is it coming from? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think a lot of us, I mean, even with the conversation I had with one of our previous guests, we spoke about this feeling of you don't feel good enough. Mm-hmm. And I think I had a conversation, in fact, with your bestie, now that I remember, Pastor Vic. And I was expressing to her that when I grew up, I experienced a lot of bullying. Mm-hmm. And I was bullied by my friends, but for good things. So for my achievements and all the good things that I was doing, I knew that, I'm going to be told, you think you're this, I'm going to be bullied for a lot of that. And so growing up, I really did not think that I was good enough or that I deserved any good things happening for me. And so obviously that affected how I showed up in any relationship, especially friendships. Yeah. And it's only, I think, last year where I had to deal with myself, because obviously I was showing up a certain way in my friendships and I could see this pattern. Everyone around me says you're not as open, you're not vulnerable. And here I am, I believe that I'm vulnerable. I believe that, come on, I'm open, But I had to then sit with myself and say, Kabelo, what's the root of this? Why do you show up the way you do in your friendships? Why are you so afraid that people won't celebrate you? What is it? And we had to go back to, okay, this is the root. And so from those experiences, the messages that I got from those experiences was, you're not good enough. Mm-hmm. You don't deserve good. And it really affected how I showed up. A lot of people might say, how, Kabelo, you show up like you're doing all these amazing things. But I know that there's more. It's almost as if I show up like this. It's like a teaser, but I'm afraid to just fully come out and fully be myself. Literally express myself fully and be okay with that and celebrate the good things that are happening and not be afraid that it's a bad thing or that someone is going to think bad. You know what I mean? And so it's doing that work now and questioning, okay, I see the patterns. I see how I did not show up that way, or I showed up that way in this kind of event or incident, and this is the reason why. Oh, I see maybe why that friendship didn't work out, and this is the reason why. Oh, I see why, Kabelo, sometimes you sabotage yourself and you allow people to treat you a certain way when it's not healthy. And now we see what the root of that is. Now that you know better, you can just do better, right? And so when you talk about roots, I get you, because it really, it affects how you show up in life. It affects how you do things. It affects even your own mental health and how you love on yourself, right? And even how you love on your family and your spouse and just the people around you. Now, HeartSync, maybe let's talk about some of the services you offer, right? There are people who are here who might say, I need counseling, but I don't see what's important about counseling. You know, I can sit with myself, I can have a conversation, I can look into the mirror and just speak a lot of affirmation words, and maybe that will heal me. Or I can just sit and pray and say, God, I'm healed, and I'll be healed. But what's the importance of counseling? As we wrap this up, I want you to maybe talk on that.
Okay. You know, there are a lot of misconceptions around counseling. People don't go for counseling because it may be, you might think that you're showing weakness, right? Especially for men. Okay. So a lot of my clients are women, and people might associate counseling to say that you are weak, or that you cannot handle yourself, or you're not in control of your life, right? So there's that misconception. There's also a misconception about it being for people that are ill, right? Psychologically, right? And so it's not just for that only, right? I think we need to change the narrative around counseling, because what it does, it allows you to discover yourself. It allows you, as I said earlier on, that you are a multifaceted person. You're going to learn things about you that you've never known. You will learn your weaknesses, which is something that people rarely look at themselves in the mirror and really look through, like their weaknesses and all of that. Especially, you'd rather want to focus on your strengths than your weaknesses.
I'm the other way around. I think
Really?
I focus a lot on my,
Your
focus a lot on my weaknesses. In corporate, we call it focus areas, because we don't want to talk about weaknesses, but I focus a lot on my weaknesses, and I guess that's something I'm working on, because I tend to be very hard on myself. So if I'm not showing up, or I'm not, just all my weaknesses, I'm like, let me work on those. And I don't appreciate my strengths. And I don't think that's quite healthy, because then I don't, I don't express my strengths well, or I don't work my strengths, or, you know what I mean? I don't show up in my strengths a lot, because I'm so focused on, this is a weakness, this has to be dealt with. Yes.
But it's good that you're aware of it. There are people that are not aware of it. So I do know that I have this weakness, but I don't want to talk about it. So it's that elephant in the room that you just don't want to talk about, right? So for instance, I don't like talking in public spaces, or don't like being around people. So that's a weakness. You don't want to address it. You, on the other hand, you're saying that, well, I see this is a weakness and I'm working on it. The other people that don't want to work on it, right? So, and that limits their potential, limits who they can potentially be. And so with counseling, with therapy, it allows you to unfold page by page and discover who you actually are. And it also helps you to set boundaries, which is something that people don't realize. You learn to say, no, this is not for me. So that's where we cancel out people pleasing. Do you understand? We don't have to be like anyone else. We don't have to do certain things for people just because we want to fit in. With counseling, it helps you unfold all of that and say, oh, I love this about me. Oh, I need to work on this. As you're saying, I need to work on this thing. And how do I then turn this weakness into a strength?
Okay, so there is that hope. You can turn it into
you can.
Great.
Right? So it gives you that opportunity to learn about yourself, and also to love those parts of yourself and embrace them. The laugh that I was talking about, I no longer hold back, because that makes me who I am. Even if I laugh here and someone hears me come next door, because that's who I am. So I cannot continue rejecting who I am. How then do I become the full person that I want to be? So with counseling, it helps to just go and help you navigate through challenges as well. You are no longer avoiding issues. You are walking through it, not over it. You have the strength, you have the wisdom, right? The wisdom to walk through a thing instead of ignoring its existence. And so with counseling, it helps to do that. So I really encourage people to really consider counseling. It's not for the weak. It's not to say that you are not managing. It is to say that there's more that needs to be unfolded. There's more in you. You are a multifaceted person, and there's definitely room for growth. there's definitely room, for you to evolve and be that which you think you are. Because I really think that everybody always thinks, I want to be this person, but I don't think I have the capacity or I have the personality for it. It's within you. But with counseling, it helps you reveal that. And now you have the confidence as well to speak up and to walk in a room. You no longer shrink anymore. You no longer feel like you're not what do you say? You're not valid, right? So you don't need even people to validate you, because that's what we're dealing with now. We have people that feel like, hey, did I do well with that
it's a big thing,
interview?
with social media.
Do you understand? So it allows you to validate yourself and not to depend on someone else's validation. You are now more confident in your own skin. So that's what it does.
I think we're going to have you back. I know I say that quite often, but as we're talking, I literally, me and being a visionary, I think we need more. And there's a lot more I need to unpack with you. In fact, we need to unpack with you. Yeah, sure. And so I definitely think we'll have more. And we'll break it down, because I think there's a lot more topics that we can really talk about, because the heart thing is such a big thing. I desire for all of us to rise up and to function not only in the position and the roles that God has for us, but in the way that God desires for us to function in those roles. And it takes really allowing ourselves to heal. It takes us not being afraid to face the things that we need to face. And cleaning up is messy. The process is messy. I always like saying, because of revelation from Holy Spirit, God loves taking walks. What does that mean? He actually enjoys the process that we so readily want to run away from because it's messy, right? But he enjoys taking walks with us. And so I want us to have that, and we'll talk more about how we can do it. But I think it's important for us to deal with our hearts, so that when we do rise up, we rise up healed. Healing is very parallel to growth. I don't think we can grow without healing.
Yes, that's good.
And so I want us to grow, and I'm committed to this community growing. And if it means we have women like Talama who are going to help us in our process of growth, let's do that. And let's do that together. Because I want, by the end of the year, we're going to look back and we're going to be like, God, man, you walked with us and you took us through the hard seasons. You took us through the garden of our hearts, and you uprooted what needed to be uprooted. So honestly, we can rise up and show up healthy and whole and healed. So thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We're going to chat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious about that. We're going to chat. If you do want, obviously, personal counseling, you're more than welcome to reach out to Talama. She's going to mention shortly how you can reach out to her, where you can find her, and then please invest in that. Invest in yourself. Give yourself permission to heal. You went through it. It's hard, but give yourself permission to heal and rise up. There's more for you on the other side of your healing, right? So tell us more about where people can reach you.
Okay. Just to add on that, Brene Brown, I hope I'm quoting her correctly. She mentioned something about, just because your story was messy, it doesn't mean that it should end messy. You are in control, and you can change the story. So you can find me. You can find me at Talama _M on Instagram, and you just have to click on that link, and it'll send you straight to the website.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll add the website on the description box as well, so it will make it much easier. But thank you so much once again. She's coming back. I'm just going to go through the vision that I have in my mind and just, plan it out. And I definitely think that we are going to have her back. We're going to have her back. Comment below. Let us know what stood out for you. I'm trying to process everything while I speak. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have purchased your tickets for the 1st of June at our B.Connects live conversations. It's going to be amazing. Imagine something like this. where you can engage with us, where you can ask questions. We're going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be honest. We're going to talk about things like how to find your rhythm as a wife, as a mom, as a career woman, a businesswoman, etc. How do we find our rhythm? We're going to talk about making sure that you find the right partner. Because whether you want to believe it or not, your partner can help you propel and move forward, or they can keep you bound and keep you holding back. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, we're going to talk about it a lot. So be there, purchase a ticket. It is you investing in you, right? So I'm not even going to purchase your ticket, guys. No. If you're there, you're there. You know why you're there. It is more for you than anyone else. So I love you guys so much. See you on the next B.Connects conversation. Bye.
Bye.